sports podcast around Valdosta State University. Made by the students, about the Blazers, for Blazer Nation all around. You're tuning into the Inferno Blazer Sports Show with Jalen Scott, Garrison Allen, Kyle Hawthorne, and Chris Mercer. And if you can't take the heat, what makes you think you can survive the Inferno? Well, look at where we are, back in the video podcast room here in the Mass Media building. It's a wonderful, wonderful day here in Valdosta, Georgia, a Thursday evening at the time we are recording this. It's December 5th, and we welcome you all to the Season 3 finale of the Inferno Blazer Sports Show for the winter semester. I'm Jalen Scott. We got to get the threes up in there. Yep. I'm Jalen Scott alongside the enforcer, Chris Mercer over here, Mr. Serve Maker, Camera 3, Kyle Hawthorne, and G Unit, G Allen right here. How are you guys doing today? It's the
low bang bang.
It's the unfortunate the end of the road here for us, at least for two of you guys here. And obviously the last episode for the Inferno this semester before we move on to the spring. Dude, a month off we've had. Dude, school is schooling. That's all we can say.
For sure. We got that scene, for the three of us up here, that the senioritis is very much real, just like trying to get everything done. I appreciate y'all being patient with us. Did y'all not love that last episode that we did, man?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Man, I cannot. Much love to Jalen over here with the damn A-Temp over here. He was working. And then we had a football game immediately after, because we recorded the Shawan game.
Yes,
so that was
a while ago.
That was a while ago, and just he was over here carrying everything. Like, much love, and I just remember I'm walking back, and I think either I was coming back into town or I had woke up late, so I'm walking back, and I'm just like walking like towards the stadium, and it's like not far from here from Mass Media, and I'm walking on the sidewalk, and I am just like, man, I am running late. I wish somebody could come pick me up, Jalen.
And I just happened to be there.
And I see a blue car almost hit me, and I'm just like,
I did not almost hit you. That is slander and lies on my name. Either way.
It wouldn't be the first time. We're not talking about that right now. But I just was like, oh, that's Jalen. So that works. But man, much love, man. Much love to Jalen, man. We got some stuff to talk about with you, man, in a very good way.
Coming up later on the show. But speaking of topics we have for the show, just going through all of our fall and winter sports that we've had so far. Got cross country, football, soccer, volleyball, and basketball starting up. So we got all that coming up for you right here on the Season 3 finale of the Inferno Blazer Sports Show. So our first topic is going to be heading over to the Trails of Cross Country, who just finished up their season. G, I'm going to let you take over that one. What do we got from our cross country teams? Their season came to an end recently.
Yeah, that's right. Cross country runs their last race of the fall season. Both Blazers cross country teams concluded their season at the D2 South Regional. The men finished 18th overall, while the women faced 13th. Nice. Women's top performers in the 6K, we got senior Katie LaCroix, 46th. With her time was 23 minutes and 53.4 seconds. Yep. Next we have senior Caitlin Kosk.
It's Kosk.
Caitlin Kosk. Yeah. Placed 57th with a finishing time of 24 minutes 11.6 seconds. And for the women, we got Sarah Simpson, placed 58th with 24 minutes, 15 and a half seconds.
That's a PR for her too. So congratulations to you, Sarah.
Oh yeah.
Moving on to the men's side, they ran the 10K.
Yeah, that's right. Going to the men's top performers in the 10K, we got freshman Nick Waddell, team best, 77th place with 34 minutes, 37.4 seconds.
Hey, the freshman gained the PR there.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be great. He's gonna be great for Blazer cross country.
Oh, he will be for sure. Next we have Elijah Pace, placing 103rd with a time of 35 minutes and 56 seconds. Next, we got going on Caleb Tilford, placing 106th with a finishing time of 36 minutes and 10.4 seconds. And last, we got Austin Sikowski, placing 107th place with a finishing time of 36 minutes and 12.1 seconds.
All those times are PRs.
Yeah, all of them.
Congratulations,
guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially for those seniors and graduate students. Like I know Elijah's a graduate student. We're in the finish 103rd and finishing off with a PR. Like that's huge. That's definitely a high note you want to end on. So massive shout out and congratulations to our Blazer cross country teams. Finished up their season at the D2 South Regional, faced a lot of tough competition. It was actually Lee who ran away with the victory, both on the men's and women's side. And speaking of Lee University, we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to Lee. They've been a consistent team that we've had to face for a while, especially coming up to women's soccer here, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So women's soccer, like you were saying, Jalen, with Lee, we face them, I believe it was the last game of the season, and then we have to face them again in the playoffs.
Yeah, last regular season game for that 10 a.m. game.
They have to come down to us.
Result after Hurricane Helene, and they scheduled it after that? Or no, it rained. It was a rain.
It was a rain game.
It was a rain.
Yeah, so we play that 10 a.m. game. They have to come all the way down here for a game that, essentially at the point in the time in the standings didn't matter.
Yeah, it really kind of faced them again.
After talking to a few people, we were like, well, why even have this game?
Yeah.
But, they had it at 10 a.m. because of a bunch of rain. But, at the end of the day, I mean, it's always good to have your opponent go all the way down to Valdosta just to drive right back up to their place.
Yeah, you got to drive all the way back to Cleveland.
Facing a playoff game. But, we take that win, but unfortunately in the playoffs, we do lose 5-1. It was a really good season for the Blazers. I think we held up to our standard of what we thought we was going to be when the season started.
Absolutely.
At least what we thought they would be in this room. But extremely proud of the women. We got some award notices for them as well. Freshman midfielder Maria Rojas named the D2 CCA second team All-South region. And she also got the GSC Freshman of the Year, so definitely great.
Congratulations! Coming in as a freshman and having that much of an impact on a Blazer soccer team that, much like our volleyball team, was very, very heavily front loaded by a lot of senior talent. Anna Maleka, Molly Woldridge, Ansley DeCenzo. And also Claire Timberlake as well. I mean, this was a team that was very front loaded with veteran and senior talent, but to have a freshman make such a substantial impact in her first year in a Blazer uniform, like as a matter of fact, just pulling up some of the stuff she's done, 5 goals, 10 points on the season. I believe that's good for third on the team in scoring, had 15 shots on goal, and big one, she had the 73rd minute game-winning goal against Mississippi College. That's awesome. The first time that we mentioned in the Caton episode, first time that our lady soccer team has beaten Mississippi College.
That's such a turning point.
Well, the team formerly known as Mississippi College.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's such a turning point.
We will get to that in a minute.
In our program for soccer, it's such a monumental win. We think about football and we might not think, oh yeah, well, Mississippi College, I mean, they're Mississippi College. If you think about it, football standards,
Mississippi College.
Like to Jalen's point, that is their big sport. It's kind of like Vanderbilt in the SEC with baseball. Yes. You might not have much respect for Vanderbilt football, but they beat Alabama though.
They did.
That's another story for another time. But I mean, that is their niche. That is what they're really good at. So to beat a team like Mississippi College, it's really, really great for the program. But, overall, Maria Rojas winning that GSC Freshman of the Year, it really just shows how bright our future is for the women's soccer program.
Victoria Barr being named second team All GSC. Again, Rojas Freshman of the Year. I believe Molly Woldridge and Anna Maleka both made All GSC teams as well. They both had outstanding seasons, and also we had 4 new signees as well for the ladies soccer team. We have Kendall Smith out of 2025, defender from Tallahassee, along with Lucy Longshore from 2025, a forward from Valdosta, so a local product.
Nice.
It's really cool. Along with
Sophia,
yes, and Sophia Anzini, a defender from Canada. So another international talent coming down to Valdosta, all the way from Canada. That is awesome. Along with Raya Mitchell, another forward from Fort Mill. So I mean, I think it's like I've said before. I mean, this Blazer soccer team under Steven Andrew has done such a good job refortifying and reloading their teams. I don't think at least in the time that we've been covering Blazer soccer, I don't think I've ever really seen this team rebuild. They more reload than they rebuild. Yeah. And they have consistent, strong seasons. So massive shout out to our ladies soccer team getting it done this season. Had a great regular season. Unfortunately, came up short, but it's still an outstanding season. I can't wait to see what they do in 2025, man.
Yeah, so next we're going to go to Jalen for volleyball.
And yeah, volleyball, speaking of seasons that kind of ended on a sour note, to Lee University of all teams, just has
to be the Blazers. You named your name the Flames.
Yes, I hate that. It's just like North Greenville being named. It's just like North Greenville being named the Trailblazers.
Let me tell you something. So when I had to write for, I work for the Spectator, and just when I'm writing for that particular game, how many times I gotta put Trailblazer? I'm like, y'all, stop it.
It's
I hate it.
It's so
go
stupid.
on to Coastal Carolina, so I cannot talk. Oh dang it, we got a damn.
Yeah, we still have. Anyways, talking more about volleyball. Unfortunately, their season would end at the hands of Lee in the GSC tournament second round, the Blazers' second round appearance. And here's how that game went. It was a 3-2 loss. It was a 3-2 loss, but it was about as dead even as it was
I love watching.
The only major difference between the two teams in that game was in errors. And even then, the errors was only separated by 5. Only 5 errors separated these two teams, really. So here's how that game went. For set 1, it started as a 9-9 tie, then went 14-14 in set 1, capped by a JoJo Smith killed it in the set. Then in set 2, it was actually an 11-5 VSU lead to start, which then turned to 11-9, and then a 7-3 rally made it 18-2 for the Blazers, which they eventually took set number 2. So it's 2 sets none, but Lee, their season on the line. I've always said the teams that either have everything to win, they either have everything to lose or nothing to lose at all, are the most dangerous teams. And Lee absolutely showed that. Coming back in set 3, they went on a 6-0 run, putting them up 17-11 after being tied at 11 in set 3. Then Lee would seal it. In set 4, it was a lot of lead trading. It started 4-4. Lee goes up 6-4. Then VSU goes up 7-6, and then 10-8 Lee and a 5-3 run. Or excuse me, I read off the wrong one. It was actually a 6-0 run from Lee that put the Flames up 17-11 after being tied at 11. Then they sealed set 4, actually. Set 3, Lee would end up winning. They went up 17-7. VSU tied it at 19, but then Lee took the momentum back after a timeout, winning it 25-21. So it's 2 sets apiece. 2 sets apiece heading into set 5, and the score differential in that one was only 4 points. And how that one ended up going, and this is the one I was talking about where the teams were trading leads. Set 5 started 4-4. Then Lee goes up 6-4. VSU then goes up 7-6. Then 10-8 Lee, and a 5-3 run is what pushes Lee onto the semifinals and sends VSU packing back home. And it is a brutal way to end the season that way, especially after that impressive run of form that our volleyball team had at the middle of the season. If I remember correctly,
towards the end too.
They started 1-4. They started 1-3 in conference play after a 6-4 non-conference start. But I remember saying then, and I also said this in the Caton episode, I had no worries. I didn't have any worry about the slow start because I knew, or at least I had a feeling they were going to pick it up. And they went 8-2 in their next 10 games in conference, including a 4-game win streak against Christian Brothers and Union. All 4 of those games had to be played on the road because they were all rescheduled due to Hurricanes Helene and Milton. So they had to travel up to Jackson and Jackson and Memphis, Tennessee to play 4 games in 3 days.
Yeah.
And then they had that extended Alabama road trip due to the hurricane playing all the Alabama teams on the road. I mean, it's just been an incredible season of trials, tribulations, and everything being thrown at this team, but they didn't break. And that's honestly the thing that I'm so happy about to report with on this team, especially calling their games at home this season. I had some fantastic calls. I had a great time calling them this season. Actually, just as a bit of a side, Ava Young's grandmother, who watches the streams, actually said, or at least what I heard from Ava is that she thinks I'm one of the best commentators in the GSC. So I thank you. I thank you. That was a sincere.
We got to get some more about that commentating a little later on.
Oh yeah, I got one more year of that. But speaking more on the volleyball team, Pettigrew ended up leading the team in that game. 17 kills, 6 blocks, hitting .469. That is a star-worthy performance there for, unfortunately, her last game in a Blazer uniform. Speaking of players who would end up playing their last game in a Blazer uniform, JoJo Smith, 1,000 career kills as a Blazer. Spent all 4 years here at VSU, racking up 1,000 career kills. Audrey Bennett transferring in her sophomore year, getting 2,000 career assists. Christina Pettigrew, 1,000 career kills and 500 career stonewalls. I have to. Kaya Baker, 1,500 digs, along with Amaya Harris and Kennedy Hairston. Although I'm not too confident about Hairston because she didn't play much this season, so I don't know if she's going to be returning next season. I would not be surprised if she did, but that was also her last game. We sincerely appreciate all your efforts, all the seniors' efforts this year. They did fantastic. But with that being said, 7 seniors on this team, but 8 remaining players heading into next season. And this core of players is going to be something special next year, considering that the season ended with it's going to leave this team with a sour taste in their mouth heading into next season, much like it did last year when they lost in the second round to Montevallo. It sucks that the final send off for this talented group of seniors and the excellent season they had, but the youth and this upcoming core of players that's ready to take the mantle have had great experience throughout the year. And like the seniors that led them this year, they're going to be hungry to take the GSC next year. And speaking of that core of players, you have Avery Mullins, the incoming redshirt freshman. She had 47 assists and 10 digs in that GSC quarterfinal game against Lee. 47 assists and 10 digs, a double-double for her that season. I believe it's either her second or third since she started getting more of the reps at setter, along with Sabrina Onsens, Lily Glover, Katie Kallenberger, Ava Young, and multiple signees. I believe they had 3 new signees, at least at the time of this recording. The core set. I believe the core is set for next year, and I sincerely can't wait to see where they go with that. You guys have any comments about that?
Great year. Really came into the form final stretch of the year, because when we were recording the Caton episode, and that was November 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah,
and we were just and it was like they played Alabama Huntsville that evening.
Yeah, they played Alabama Huntsville that evening, sweeping them.
Yeah, sweeping them. So it's just like they really found what they are. I mean, they just found their form at the right time, and it's just that next year they know what how much of a bitter taste in their mouth is of getting out, and the importance of getting out of that second round, and they got to be able to do so. And I'm excited to see what they can do coming up next year.
Absolutely. And Kyle G, you guys got anything to say?
Yeah, they've got holes to fill. I mean, like you said, JoJo Smith, Audrey Bennett, Christina Pettigrew, Kaya Baker, and the crew. But, they've got a lot of holes to fill. Yeah. But I think this season we had a complete team.
Oh, yes. I think so.
So I think you know exactly what type of players you need to recruit or develop to fill those holes, so you can have a team around Avery Mullins and Lily Glover and Kallenberger and Ava Young, to the point where you can come back and be just the same as you was this year, if not better. Yeah. So I think it's very clear of what we have, what we need, and what we need to become.
And actually, speaking of Baker and Pettigrew, I forgot to mention that both of them earned D2 CCA All-Region honors, along with Baker winning GSC Libero of the Year and all GSC first team, both Baker and Pettigrew making all GSC first team. So just some outstanding seasons from our Blazer volleyball team this year. I've had an absolute blast calling their games this year. I can't wait to do it again next year.
Just JoJo, Audrey, Christina and Kaya, the future Hall of Famers for VSU. I'm pretty sure.
I would
definitely say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see him back here in Town for that ceremony.
Oh, absolutely. But with that being said, we're gonna take a quick break here before we get into basketball and football. But for now, from the four of us here, this has been the Inferno Blazers Sports Show. We'll be right back after this. Hey there. Suppose you want to hear more hot headlines, scorching stories, and humorous but informative commentary on all things Blazer athletics? How about subscribing to the show, following us on Instagram at the Inferno B.S.S, or checking out our website at www.sites.google.com/view/the Inferno B.S.S so that you never miss out on any episode of the Inferno wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to the Inferno Blazer Sports Show, the sports podcast by the students about the Blazers for Blazer Nation all around. And now, back to the show. Hey, welcome back everyone to the Inferno Blazer Sports Show after a commercial break full of
something.
Shenanigans,
thank you. I think that's the best way to describe it. We're going to send it over to Chris for basketball. Dude, hoop season is underway. This is what man. You in particular have been preparing for.
Oh, yes. And first of all, much love to you, Jalen, as well, as I've been able to sit behind and really take in from Spencer Van Horn, the official voice for Blazer games at home.
Oh, yes.
I've had an honor and actually called the last game, last outing for the men's team when they took on Thomas University Nighthawks. And for you, Jalen, as the road voice of the Blazers.
That's the new thing with me this year.
Yeah, man. So much love to you, bro. Like but we've been treated to quite a show for both teams. But if
absolutely.
As a true gentleman that I am, I'm gonna go to the ladies first. Starting off 5-1. We've talked amongst ourselves about how much last year meant to all of us.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
We've talked about how much that set a precedent of how good this team is and just we have that championship mindset in basketball. Mm-hmm. And so far this year, under first-year head coach Chandler Merkson, has led them off to another hot start, 5-1 as they enter Gulf South Conference play by the time this video comes out.
Yep.
Lady Blazers have been, we talked about the departures last year of girls like Lily Long and Tamaya Francis and Gulf South Conference Player of the Year and Khalifa Ford.
And Emma Martin as well.
Emma Martin. Yeah,
and
Taylor Cersei as well.
Cersei, Alicia Curry.
And of course, Coach Deandra Shermer. Much love to them out there in Chattanooga right now.
Oh, absolutely.
We
still keep up with them.
Yeah, man. Much love.
Much love to you guys.
There was a lot of holes to fill. And you bring in, for Coach Merkson, you bring in Kirsten Nelson, who was on the Sanford staff where she was coming over. So following her. Yep. And she has been a difference maker for the Blazers so far. And I believe she leads the team in points leads
points per Kirsten game. Nelson leading the team in scoring. Even after having to take off a game against Clayton State, dealing with a day-to-day ankle injury, I believe it was. Yeah. But it didn't shake up the team much at all. I mean, you also have Ari Hicks as well, second in scoring.
I love her game.
She plays a fantastic one.
Yeah, like she is so explosive just going to the rim, and she has a tough layup package.
Oh, and absolutely.
I'm waiting for her to hit the Kyrie, the I'm waiting for that. But
I think she might have actually hit it at one point.
Really? She might, maybe against Brute. I have to check. I gotta check.
Parker,
You're gonna start seeing her edits on TikTok now.
Yeah, probably. She is just nice. But this team is it's come together so far, and just so far defensively, they are right where they were a season ago. 3-point percentage hasn't really gone up, was something that we were really accustomed to last year. Yeah, but overall, we've just played some really solid basketball, out rebounding. I love Kirsten Nelson just being able to be an enforcer of sorts for this team. Yeah, in terms of down low and just. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the lady
Again, the thing that I talked about last year with Victoria Ignacio returning Blaze, also all GSC preseason team, Victoria Ignacio. The way I mentioned it last year, especially in tandem with Alicia Curry, is they're a yin and yang of fives. They're a yin and yang of fours and fives. Ignacio plays more like a four. She's more graceful in the paint. She finds tough shots, but still manages to go under the rim, through the paint, and all that, Nelson will just bully you.
Oh my God.
Nelson will just bully you in the paint. Same way Alicia
in the paint.
Same way Alicia did last year.
We're in the same jersey number 2.
Yeah. Kirsten will bully you in the paint.
I mean, it's phenomenal. And also, much love to Victoria. She and me and Kyle had done like a project a couple of weeks back. And
she helped us out with that. So.
Yeah, much love to her in that. And we were just talking about like what was like her favorite moment of VSU, like being at VSU.
Wish I was there.
And and she had mentioned the West Georgia game. And let me tell you, me and I was just like, yes. She was just like, oh my God. We were just so nervous to lose that game, but just was like, that crowd was just awesome.
It was.
And I just was like, I'm so glad, because we've talked ad nauseum about how much that game was.
That was the game since we've been in college.
Yeah, that's if you weren't there for that, you missed.
To be honest, it's bigger in my eyes than in 2021 when we went to Dallas in that semifinal game, making it to the championship.
That atmosphere was
just
something.
Like you said, the atmosphere.
Yeah,
and we talk about that. We talked about that in the AD Caton episode where we talk about atmosphere and fan involvement and showing out to support your team.
Yeah,
that was a big example of when they show up. It creates memories.
They show out. We show out.
I'll tell you something who has been showing up and showing out. These the men Blazers on on basketball side. Mm-hmm. I cannot begin to tell you how much night and day.
Huge surprise. Huge surprise.
I mean, listen, if you blink, you might miss them going to go score.
Literally, you blink and you miss them.
Yeah, like they are blazing down the court. All pun intended. And it's just this team currently 5-1 as well as they enter Go Self Conference play. I mean, they've changed their philosophy offensively. They remind me a lot of, in NBA terms, of Mike D'Antoni, where it was 8 seconds or left when it was Steve Nash.
Like 7 second offense.
Yeah, 7 second offense. Yeah. They will go down the court quick, and then they are back running that full court pressure defense and forcing them into steals. And they average around 14 a game, which is top 10 in the nation, along with they average 95 points a game, which is also top 15 in the nation as well.
300-point games, 300-plus point games against, I believe, Fort Valley, Clark Atlanta, and Thomas.
Yes. And in the Thomas game, it was, because that was the last, as of the moment of this recording, they, being on the call solo for that, they had a...
Which, by the way, shout out to you, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. No, shout out to Spencer, man, for putting that faith in me. I appreciate that heavy. One of the things that I really noticed in that game, first of all, was a completely different starting five. This year was had a lot of turnover. The only 2 returners were J.C. Clossy and Braxton Williams. I will get to in a minute because he deserves all the flowers in the world.
You just remember 13 new players.
Yeah,
13.
Let me tell you, they all run right here. And they all run hard. They run together well. They've really been able to gel and building up that chemistry. And talking to Coach Huff for the years, just like, I'm just lucky that we've gotten players who are just close. They're just automatically close with each other.
Yeah.
And that's something that's just, something that he's noticed entering his 20th season. Into this game, the normal starting 5 for the year was Braxton Williams and Drew Mills, who mostly plays at the center position, along with MJ Jones. Clossy was in the lineup, but also was changed out for Lucas Brown Jr.
Yeah. And we would often see, I believe, either LD Gigano or Tony Green Jr.
Yeah, or Tony Green.
Carlos Hart. We cannot forget Carlos Hart, man.
Yeah. I knew I was missing somebody, but Carlos Hart.
We cannot, you can't miss him.
But in this game, completely different 5. You had LD starting. You had Tony Green starting. Mm-hmm. You had pretty much their, reserves. And you talking to Coach Huffer after the game, it's just like, it don't matter who we put in that starting 5. We're still going to produce what we can, what we're able to do. And nothing should be able to drop off. And nothing really did so. LD Shigano is like a really good shot blocker. That I think that, that 6'10" or 6'11" frame is, something that is just intimidating.
Yeah.
Also, you have guys off the bench like Kobe Haraway, who, shout out to him, going to previous school being North Carolina Central.
Oh, yeah.
In Durham, North Carolina. And if you know, you know.
He's played UGA.
Yeah. He played UGA as well. So he brings that experience coming off the bench. And when you look at the, the season so far, I cannot give enough flowers to Braxton Williams and Carlos Hart. Braxton Williams looks like a completely different player.
He does.
He is a full
I mean, let me tell you something. When he comes down the court, he will put his shoulder in and he will muscle through contact more than I think I have seen from him in the time of being at VSU. And Carlos Hart plays almost in the same exact way, but let me tell you, he sets up shop at the free throw line every single game.
My God.
If he doesn't attempt at least 10 to 12 free throws a game, he probably didn't play, because he is so great at forcing contact and forcing them into foul trouble. As Braxton, I believe, is averaging 18 a game, and Carlos Hart is like right behind him at like 16 a game this year. I believe
actually at one point Carlos actually led the nation, or at least led Division II in total free throw attempts and free throws made. Dude,
she was like 89% from the free throw line.
Like Hart is literally automatic from the line. I've only ever seen him miss like 4 free throws.
He is good. And one of the things also that I've definitely enjoyed is the 3-point shooting. They got shooters on all from the wings to your guards.
They own it this season.
I mean,
they really are.
They are a different brand of basketball that I am loving. By the time this video comes out, they will have played West Alabama.
They would have played West Alabama and Alabama Huntsville, which I would have been there. I would have been there for those games, which means this episode wouldn't have existed. This episode would not have existed. No, I would have been in Alabama.
We would have shot at him and like, R.I.P. Jalen. He's not here, but
he's just in Alabama. Which is kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, he wants to hide there after Michigan lost to Ohio State again.
Shut up! We're not talking about that. We're not talking.
He didn't run from the group chat this time.
I couldn't run.
He couldn't run. He was
I was working.
We'll get to the football game in a minute.
And then we got G in the headset. Just so y'all know, Ohio State lost.
Oh yeah, I had to miss it.
Instigator. What ain't it bad is that Jack, and you better be watching Jack Calhoun.
He probably is.
He just sends up in the group chat. He's like, "Hey, y'all seen Jalen today? Someone might need to check on him." And I was conveniently sitting right next to him, and I just did one of these numbers. I'm like, "Hey, Jack, he's right here." He's just slowly losing.
I'm not also
4 in a row. Damn. Anyway, I will say this though: this team is special. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the guards. I'm loving what I'm seeing from just how different this team is from last. Because last year, you would see Coach Helfer and the sweats, the Nike Tech. There's something that you would see all around. But this year, that old school, we in the suits and ties for the coaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
And it is changing
nice.
the mindset of this team. And I am enjoying watching these boys play. And both for the Lady Blazers and for the men, like these are 2 completely different foundations that they're building. You also got established with Helfer, but with Coach Chandler Merkson, who, former assistant at Valdosta State before going to Sanford with I can't remember Coach at Sanford's name right now, but y'all probably put it on the bottom.
Yeah, probably.
But just they're completely different philosophies, and much love to them. They're off to a hot start.
You also got to give all the props in the world to these coaches for their scouting because you also imagine for the lady side, you have 4 returners. 11 new faces. 11 new faces.
Whoever scouted out picks, much love, because I would not be shocked if she wins Coach Time.
And I know we mentioned Ari, but also Mary McMorris having that 26-point game against Clayton State. She cooked that game. So playing at the 1 position, that was nice. I love the tandem. And also for the men's side, again, 13 new players. Yeah. Or it was either 13, anywhere between 11 and 13.
It was 13, because the only 2 left are from last year was JC and Braxton. And talking to Coach Helfer, he was just like, glad that we brought in these guys. And I was just talking about how Braxton, just talking about, man, how impressive you've been. He's just like, man, I love to see what, his growth as a player. Yes, and just absolutely. To see how, he has grown and just how this offense just suits him. Yeah. And, Coach Helfer has always said, it's not like we want to rely on one player, but I'm sorry, you can rely on 2. Yeah. That has got to go and win you.
But they can run whole 5 units. Like if you watch Blazer basketball this year, you'll notice that that they'll sub out like whole units. They'll sub out whole platoons.
First 5 minutes of the game, because they're at that pace so that no one can feel, everyone gets involved.
Yeah. So everyone gets in, then the group that comes out, they have 3-4 minutes to rest, and then they're back on the the court. So you're constantly bringing in fresh, rested guys to play that style of play. It's something great.
Much love to Drew Mills as well, guy out of Baltimore, the DMV.
We're from Baltimore.
Yeah, man, DMV in the cut. Okay, but he bruising inside as well. But man, let's get into some football, man. It's about
this is the big story.
Gentlemen, it's been a year, hasn't it? Like,
we're sitting here. Hey, G's prediction was right. On the freaking.
Oh yeah. Well, before y'all get into that, I'm gonna go around the table. We'll start with G, go to Jalen, and end with Chris. I want to hear y'all's season predictions, and then also give me VSU's biggest test as for what's on the schedule right now. G, what are you thinking?
I'm definitely going undefeated. I'm not gonna lie. Undefeated. I have it.
But yeah, undefeated. What you got?
All right, so we recorded the episode on the Shawan episode, which we won that was our third shutout of the season.
Yeah, we won pretty big with that.
52 to nothing.
Yep.
Then went to Delta State.
Took care of business.
Blew them out. Alfonso Franklin, the former Delta State statesman.
Going off.
3 touchdowns in that game. And then we get to West Florida. And we discussed how big that game was and how much we needed to control what we can control.
And apparently you can challenge a non-targeting call, which I did not know you could do.
And timeout. Oh, challenge? What is the challenge?
West Florida's challenged the ruling on the field of no targeting.
Whoa,
Wait,
what?
they challenging the final two? After the years, the ruling on the field stand. West Florida is out challenging the game.
We will talk about that.
Really, I mean, in my opinion, the West Florida game was our most complete game of the year.
I think
We
so.
played up to our opponent. We took down our opponent.
That said more about the defense than
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was really just a complete game. I feel like we didn't slow down or stop any point in time during the game, because I really think that's our biggest problem with Blazer football right now, is that they're great, but then we have average drives, which you're going to have average drives.
Yeah,
but
they happen.
you're going to have to be great in every aspect of the game to win a title. And that's what I saw against West Florida.
So, and also that game officially clinches us the outright Gold South Conference title for the first time since 2019.
Yeah, winning
the
it
last
just
time they won
us.
it outright. Also knocked off West Florida out of the Super Region, so they're officially knocked.
Yeah, they didn't even make the playoffs.
So
They've been knocked out.
And also secured a first round bye as well. We take that first round bye the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And then week of Thanksgiving, we come back to take on Miles College, who coming in all the momentum in the world, had won 10 straight games going into this game.
And won their first ever
playoff.
That is the best defense we have faced all year, and maybe the best defense we'll face all year going forward in the playoffs.
We ran the football so well in that game. Blake Hester, as much as I gave the flowers to Braxton in terms of basketball and him being a homegrown, but Blake Hester coming in as a transfer and the impact that he has had on the ground this year. Like anytime I talk to Sammy Edwards, he's just like, man, like this running game, like we really needed this.
Yeah, we got a proper bell cow running back.
Right, it takes a load off of Sammy Edwards, not being able to just if running game ain't gone, we got to pass the ball, and just it's a balanced effort with him and Franklin back there. It has been
the run game was good. I will say that's probably the worst game I believe we've had all season, at least at home, for passing.
The passing was a little bit worse.
Was it worse than the Mississippi College game?
I would say yeah.
I'd love to know.
All I'm saying is, not to get too much ahead of ourselves. Virginia Union does defeat Lenore Ryan as much as we wanted our lick back, but
we want our lick back for Virginia Union, which I'll get to. In a minute,
well, I mean, we got to do better with our passing game. Really, I mean, it's the running game was there, but like I said, Miles College may be the best defense we face all year long.
Yeah,
and the fact that we beat them like we did, 33-17. I mean, it's not the most glamorous win in the world.
I mean, it was.
If you watched it, they were
33-10.
No,
it was 33-10, and then it went to 33-17. They didn't score. Miles didn't score their last touchdown until like late in the fourth quarter.
It was like 30-3 at the end of the third.
The game was over by the third.
It was, first of all, 3's up in that. Secondly, that game offensively, when you rush for over 250 yards, don't care who you are, that's winning formula all day long.
Yeah.
Sammy was just efficient. We now get into this Virginia Union game,
which it would have already been played out by the time.
Yeah, by the time this video comes out.
This comes out.
Valdosta, please. Okay, here's the scenario that we're all into. Virginia Union, if we were to win, and please put this at the bottom if we won or not. That would also mean that for our graduation, it would get pushed back a few hours. Because because if we host,
not necessarily. I believe 3 years ago, what happened is they moved the game to 12, and then maybe graduation got pushed back, but I'm not sure.
I remember graduation got pushed back.
I do know we started at 12.
It's already got pushed back an hour because it was at 4, now it's at 5.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay,
so it's just that aspect of it. But Virginia Union coming into town, this is conveniently enough the first time that they've met since 2022. Yep. And in 2022,
they came down here and
upset us because I think we were the number 2 team in the country at the time, and they were unranked. It was 45-40. Me and Jalen were both at that game because that was our first year at Blazer Sports Media.
Yep.
And that, as Coach Jackson would say, Dr. Parker over there, the head coach for Virginia.
Oh yeah, he turned that
program around, and it's just like much love to him, but they got to come down here and place us.
Yeah, they boast one of the best running. They boast probably one of the best running offenses next to us.
Yeah,
in terms of their production, I believe the last time I checked up on their stats, they scored. I mean, they scored nearly twice as many rushing touchdowns as they did passing touchdowns. But their biggest challenge is going to be going up against our defense, especially with Larry Elder back there manning the defense. I mean,
much love,
especially for a team that doesn't pass much. That I feel like that opens up a lot more opportunities for us to make interceptions and make turnovers. Because if they're not going to pass the ball often, then I think that kind of plays in our favor. It gives us less looks.
Well, we've had games where there was a lot of teams that just didn't pass the ball.
Mississippi College.
Well, not only them, but Newberry. You also had, obviously Mississippi College comes to mind. I can't remember if Shawan was like that as well. But like there are games like that where the key is you run the ball. And one of the things that one of the things that concerns me is run defense for us. Yeah. However, one of the things that we do well is that when they pass, they are going to have to make they're going to have to earn it. If you're able to stop the run and force them to pass, that is our key to success. Going into the semifinal matchup that will not be raining, because I'm saying that now.
I would hope so. My Lord,
please. But also, they're looking to get to the semifinal for the first time since 2021. Virginia Union, I believe, picked up their first 2 wins ever.
Yep, in the playoff.
Yeah, in the playoff as well.
Which speaking of remaining opponents that we have left, we have 6 remaining opponents in the playoffs now that I've kind of ranked based on potential opponent strength that we might face in the semifinals. For out of Super Region 3, Harding and Ferris State. I mean, I've been saying since that bracket was announced and since Super Region 3 was announced, that is a gauntlet.
Yeah, that's the death bracket.
That is the death bracket. And so far,
and Harding beat Grand Valley.
They beat Grand Valley, yes.
Yeah. And Ferris State.
Grand Valley, for the longest point in time this season, was number 1 in the country above VSU.
Yeah, and above Ferris until they
lost to Ferris.
Yeah. And so we have Harding and Ferris State out of Super Region 3, Slippery Rock and California, Pennsylvania out of Super Region 1. The only two seeded teams remaining out of Super Region 1, and you have Bemidji State and Minnesota State out of Super Region 4, which by the way, as I've learned, there are now 4 unseeded teams since the D2 football playoffs switched up the format to only seed 1 through 4 out of the super regions. Since that change was made in 2017 or 2018, I believe. This is the first time that this playoffs has had 4 unseeded teams make the quarterfinals.
Yeah, man. Road teams have had the edge so far, and
there's only 2 1 seeds remaining.
Yeah, well,
us and Ferris State.
When you look into the remaining teams,
that's the final.
And we think about, we are going off the assumption that we are in the semifinals. That's the whole purpose of this scenario. But when we look into the semifinals, obviously everybody gets reseeded. We're still undefeated. I believe we would be the only undefeated team in the playoffs at the time. I think
we're still the only undefeated team in D2 in general.
Maybe. I would certainly
to Grand Valley, and
Ferris lost to Pittsburgh State. Grand Valley lost to Ferris, and then Harding lost to
so we're the only team.
That one, yes. So when you look at it,
that one is crazy.
When you look into this thing, even if we're undefeated, you look at, like you were saying, the gauntlet of that Super Region 3. Whoever wins that, Harding or Ferris, I believe they are the 1 seed.
I think
but
so.
But regardless, if Valdosta wins, we're going to be at least the 1 or the 2, so we're hosting next Saturday. Yeah. So you wouldn't have to worry about the winner of Harding or Ferris until maybe the championship in Dallas.
So more than likely, the teams that we would be facing are the teams out of Super Region 1 or 4, which is, again, Slippery Rock, who beat Kutztown in overtime, double overtime, California, Pennsylvania, Bemidji State, and Minnesota State.
Yeah, it would definitely be the winner of Minnesota State, Bemidji State, I believe, because how the playoffs work essentially is you do have the rankings. You do have the rankings, but it's still Division II. Yes. It's still about money. And when you can pit, say, a Ferris State, if they were to beat Harding with Slippery Rock, who's from PA, that would be a shorter distance.
Yep.
And then you bring in one of these Minnesota teams to come to Valdosta.
Yep.
Yeah. But gentlemen, we're getting into that type of territory where we are on the cusp of history, and I'm excited to see how that.
It would be nice to go out with a title.
Absolutely,
yes, it would.
Hey, one of these.
Title town. I
had to make sure what finger that was. But all right, we're gonna take one more break real quick, and then we'll be right back. Right after this, this is the Inferno Blazers Sports Show worldwide.
The Inferno has a new home on the internet with a brand new website. Head over to www.sites.google.com/view/The Inferno B.S.S. to learn more about the show, find links to all our podcast hosting platforms, stream some feature content, and more. Catch up with the show on www.sites.google.com/view/The Inferno B.S.S. And now, back to the Inferno.
Welcome back to the Inferno Blazers Sports Show. Back here in the studio with player partner and man. Come to the end of the road with this man, G, who came on after Jack graduated in May.
Yep.
This is your final episode as you're walking next week.
Hey, we call this finale for a reason. There's a lot of finals here.
I'm going to start with you, G, real quick, and I'm going to get into Kyle real quick. So, G, the floor is yours.
I just want to say, it's hard to replace the great Jack.
You don't need to lie. He's not paying you.
I mean, no. Jack, I admire you for what you've been doing to this program, and for me to be your replacement, it's been great. I just want to thank y'all for having me on these episodes this season.
Yeah, unfortunately,
my first and last season.
We're only going to do 5 episodes because school decided to school
and a hurricane.
That definitely didn't help.
Yeah, but
it's just been a great semester, great year for the Blazers. During the summer, we start off with a national championship for Tennessee, and now we're going to win
Tennessee. Oh, sorry. That's up there with Mississippi State.
I'm off the hook. I'll let you know that now. I'm off the hook.
Sorry, with tennis win a national championship.
There you go. I know that was a sport. Tennis.
Out here supporting the Volunteers.
And now we're coming in hopefully with the Blazers winning national championship for football. It's just been a great 6 months or just great year in general. And I'm just so happy that y'all allowed me to come on here and
I did say this the moment we make everyone cry.
Then they got that Tyrese cry.
Get your tissues out, people.
But G, we appreciate you, dog, as always. But camera 3,
G Unit, Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Do we need to remember the first time we had you on the show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, R.P. Jack. He's not here, but he's not dead.
He's
But
not dead.
He's in Maryland.
Yeah, he's in Maryland. But we're gonna toss this over to Kyle. Man, Kyle Hawthorne, camera 3, the man that I am very grateful that I have gotten a chance to know, someone that I consider brother from another mother, a man that I considerably call family, someone who I appreciate so much of what you have been, not only for mass media, Blazer Sports Media, for who you have been to this show. I cannot begin to say thank you for what you have meant for us and what you have meant to me in my life. So, Kyle, the floor is yours, man.
You also have to remember as well, pioneer of the show.
Yeah,
It was the three. It was us,
the original three that we discussed it.
It was the three of us who started it.
We were one to put this all together. So, Kyle, the floor is yours, man. How you want to go?
Yeah. So, first off, love you guys to death, man. I mean, y'all are all family. I mean, they always say you meet your family in college like this. I mean, you got your friends in high school, but this is family, man.
Oh yeah.
Be so close to so many like-minded people. There's truly nothing like it, man. When I came into Valdosta State, I had one thing on my mind, and that was to win championships. I came in on a football scholarship to do film. And that was my only goal. I never looked at the school, didn't look at the program. I just knew we were good at football, and I said, I want one of these. So I mean, that was all I really cared about. And then everything kind of blew up. You know, I changed my life around. I changed what I kind of wanted to do with my life, going from coach's film to production with Blazer Sports Media. And really, just on a side note of that, Blazer Sports Media really just, I started that job when I was in a very, very dark point in my life. And it kind of showed me, you know, the light that, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's a way where it doesn't have to be this one thing that I've been doing for the past 5 years. There's other stuff that I can do that I might enjoy better, and which I do enjoy better. Blazer Sports Media has been the best job I've ever had to this point. But going on to, you know, this show and talking with you guys and just talking about sports. I mean, you know, starting out, I was always kind of like the hater, if you will. I kind of had that point to it.
Yeah,
but
you had some of the more. You had some of the more.
Yeah, I mean,
you have more of the hotter topics.
Yeah, I mean,
the controversial side.
I love having the hot topics. I like having something that, you know, people can be like, did he really just say that?
Yeah, or something to kind of bounce off of.
You know,
it wasn't all negative.
Yeah, it's like, he really just say that? Did he really just like say what we were all thinking, or say that something that nobody was thinking? But this show is just really special. We've got a lot of good things coming for y'all in the future with Jalen and Chris and whoever y'all bring on the show in the future. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to tuning in for every other 2 weeks to show what y'all got. But just for me, man, Jalen specifically, man, thank you for letting me be part of this show. I've always said this is your baby, and I was just always helping out as much as I can, you know, bringing in what I know about sports, and, you know, just bouncing off ideas of what you know about it. But from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you.
I mean, if anything, the way that I've always seen it, at least from the idea of what I want, because this whole idea I wanted to do since high school. I've always wanted to do something like this since high school, and I started getting more into the sports media side of things as a side to also playing sports, because I played sports. I played varsity sports almost every single year of high school I was in. I think there was only one semester I didn't play. I mean, between swimming, football, lacrosse, there was just always something else that I wanted to do, because honestly making in the college athletics, first of all, is already a hard enough task as it is, but it just didn't work out for me. I mean, I got one offer. I got one Division II offer, which I'm forever grateful for. I'm forever grateful for that offer, but playing in athletics just didn't work out. It just didn't work out for me. So I knew there was another route that I needed to take, and I knew sports media is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to have that base to start off in high school, but I didn't have anybody else. I didn't have anybody else to help me run this. And so, coming here to Valdosta, being in a new environment and being able to meet you guys. I mean, I know you say you think this is my baby, but honestly, this is the idea from all of us here. It takes all four of us here. It took Jack, who's now in Maryland right now. We also have to remember, for Jack, he was a late add-on for the longest time. It was just me. Yeah, it was just us three. Yeah, it was us three. And then obviously we have G at the start of this semester, and then we had obviously Jack last year. He was a late add-on. But for the longest time, when it came to figuring out branding, name identification, heck, even just this logo up here that I'm trying to see here, this thing right up here took, it wasn't just me. It took you guys giving me feedback and giving me ideas to make this what we want it to be. And that's why when we did the post at the end of the spring semester, like the quotes at the end of it, that's sincerely what we think and believe and want you guys as viewers to know and believe as we get ready to move on to another season 4, starting in January of 2025, man. But I'm gonna be honest, this never would have taken off. This never would have taken off if I didn't have guys like you, Kyle, G, Jack, and obviously my boy Chris right here. So
I appreciate that. Speaking of that, with y'all departing us so graciously, we need someone to talk sports with. Just not only with just me and Jalen, because that's enough in itself. But we need to get it. We bring enough chaos enough. We need enough chaos. But the brother I'm about to bring on is someone else who I think I consider to be family. Somebody who was an old roommate. Someone that I didn't know, connected the friend group together, as I knew when we were talking to him the first time I met him in Georgia last year. He was just talking about, he knew Kyle and was just like doing a project with him. I'm like, Kyle Hawthorne? Syrup guy. Him? Syrup guy. I'm like, yeah, no. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. It was like, yeah, Jack was there too. I'm like, Jack? Calhoun? Principal? Him? Yeah. Principal? Yeah, him. I was like, yeah. It was like, so just being able to meet him, being able to connect friend group, someone who I seriously, man, I'm excited to get him on. We had to beg and plead because he's a new guy. He loves a little bit of his sports. When he's a quiet guy, but when he gets animated and gets going, it is nothing like it in the world.
It's like me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, and I hope he is still standing by this door, I introduce the newest member of the Inferno Blazers Sports Show, Wyndham Drayton.
All right, well, now we got to jump in.
No. We're going to get the cameras for that.
What do you mean by that?
If y'all don't mind, if I'd like to end this real quick, if you don't mind.
I'll just have to work around the cameras and stuff. So,
but I will say that actually just go to camera 3. Yeah. Okay. I'll say this on behalf of Jalen Scott, behalf for G Unit, behalf for Kyle Hawthorne, behalf of myself, Chris Mercer. I hope that you all have a great holiday. I wish nothing but the best in future endeavors for you, for G, and for Kyle. Love y'all to death. Hope all of y'all have a great holiday season. Enjoy the new year. Season 4 on the horizon. Me and Wyndham, last ride together. We'll both be graduating.
Yeah, I still got another year.
I'm walking December, but that's why I'm not giving a full farewell. But I'll still be hanging around. But for all of us here, thank you so much for joining us.
One final camera.
One final. Craig, say something to the people, man.
Craig.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is a freaking wrap.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So cuts.
All right.
Yeah, let's get freaking Conway.
Yeah, let's get to class.